Hello and welcome to Non-Stop Wrestling Chat, the NWC Show, episode 50. Guys, I wanted to do this special kind of episode 50 where we kind of just chat wrestling. I'm going to do a Q&A. I've got a few cool questions to go over, quite a lot. And I'm also kind of going to be doing a watch along as well. So I've loaded up my favourite match that I always say at the end of every single one of these podcasts is Bret Hart versus Owen Hart, SummerSlam 94, Blue Steel Cage. Just load it up as well, and we'll go through it. Okay, so I'm just getting stuff ready on social media and stuff like that. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for the support from every guest that I've had on the show. Getting to 50. I honestly didn't think I would be getting to 50 shows anytime soon. But yeah, getting here has been cool. It's been fun. It's been hard work. But yeah, honestly, at the start of this, I wasn't reaching out or anything to get to like 50 shows. I didn't even think I was going to be getting to 2 or 3 shows. But hitting 50 it's just great. So I wanted to do this kind of special little kind of thing. We're going to ask questions. Like I says, guys, I'm just getting stuff sorted out. I'm tagging everybody that's been in the show on in a tweet, so it's taking a little bit of time for me to tag them in. And then when we're done, we're ready to go. Like I said, I've got Owen Hart, Bret Hart loaded up. It's going just now, so it looks pretty cool. And yeah, so question wise, what did we have? Just got to find a couple of questions first. As always, guys, I'm not going to lie to you and say that I was prepared. I've just finished exercising um, for the second time, and I've came here to do this. But let's see what we've got. So questions. First is from Wrestling by Woolridge. Assuming WWE doesn't sell, once Vince steps down, who do you think will take his place as top dog and have the final say? Or do you think it'll be a collaboration between Triple H, Stephanie, and Shane? Man, I'm not 100% sure who's going to take it from him. So far it's looking like they're going to be selling, but who knows? They could just be looking to kind of slim down, so obviously they're making those high end profits and then pass it on to his kids. That's what is also another option that Vince could be doing as well. I think I would love to see a collaboration between Triple H, Stephanie, and Shane, and let Shane do like something on SmackDown, let Stephanie do Raw, and let Triple H do NXT, and just see how it works together, coming together every year for WrestleMania. I would love that, but truthfully, I think Vince will probably sell before he gives it to his kids, but who knows? Then we've got SCW Steve, huge supporter of the show. He always has me in his live streams and stuff like that as well. So the first question is, what is your favourite moment in wrestling history? Man, that's a big question, but for me, it would have to be the formation of the NWO. That just has to be one of the most iconic moments in wrestling history, but is great to see. I love going back and watching it because nobody knew who Hogan was going to turn heel at this point. Or it would have to be the Shawn Michaels going to do the Sweet Chin music to Ric Flair when Flair was going to retire. I think those two moments probably stand out for me above anything else. But yeah, so second question Steve sent through was, what moment in wrestling made you want to rant the most? The first thing that came to my mind when I read that was Raw at the minute. I think I don't think I've been wanting to rant more than ever about wrestling than Raw at the minute. I think the last month or so of Raw has been really, really bad. And yeah, that's probably that. Or try to think. There's been a few a few rants through the time. Fuck, a few rants on this just on this channel. Let me think. Maybe when TNA brought in Hogan and Bischoff and stuff, I think that just kind of hurt a little bit. Checking the chat, guys. Sorry, 2 minutes. What keeps you watching wrestling? Man, it's been a constant through my life. Like, it's literally just been always there, from competing in it to just watching it. It's always been a constant. Plus, it's so fun to watch. Even though Raw at the minute makes me want to like just quit watching it sometimes, I still hold up hope that it'll go back to that cool way, back when we were, in the 90s, 2000s, hell, even like 2011, 12, 13. But the hope's getting less and less, but I'm still going to hold it out. Wrestling's wrestling. I love it. It's always been there. And I think most people that are watching it just now is something they've always watched. So they're always going to kind of go back to it. So then we've got GG on Wrestling, who's been on the show twice. He's a big AEW supporter. So it was fun doing those shows with him. But yeah, so his question is, what is one wrestling treasure piece of memorabilia you would love to own? Man, first of all, I used to have a stack. I was thinking about this the other day, a huge stack of um, WWF magazines, and I always want to get them back. But I lost them when I was moving house when I was younger. But it has to be the Bret Hart sunglasses. Um, they have to be. It just has to be Bret Hart sunglasses. Is something that I would love to get. So we've got Wrestling Through Life, who's been on the show as well. We've done the WrestleMania live stream with us. So, what is your bold prediction from wrestling going forward in the next 5 years? Try to think. Like, who knows? Wrestling's always been the same, isn't it? You can't really predict anything. It's always kind of going to be up and down. But we've got Noob and Co in the comments saying good morning, good afternoon, man. Here in Scotland, it's 6 o'clock. So, good morning wherever you're in the world. Hope you're having a good day. But next 5 years, I'd probably say WWE sells is. I think they're going to sell. Maybe CEW get a little bit bigger over that time, but nothing that's drawn in the huge audiences. We'll start to see a little bit more of the independent scene getting a little bit more recognition from places like YouTube. And obviously, you've got like in Scotland, ICW and stuff like that. It's getting more recognition from being on a WWE network. I'm probably going to see it's going to go like back to grassroots a little bit. I'll probably say wrestling looks like it's going to do this, and then it'll take a boom period, which will be good for me. But it does seem like it's slowing down a little bit, especially with WWE. Seems like they're getting ready to sell, and it seems like AEW are there, but I don't think they're at that point to come up yet. They're at a very crucial point. I know they're still young, but they're at a crucial point of, will they make it, or will they just end up being another TNA? And then it says, what is a wrestling thing that people may not know about you? Not sure if that's might be interesting. But an interesting thing, I'll tell you that anyway, an interesting thing that people might not know about me is I love tattoos. They're my favourite kind of things. I love art and drawing. It's one of my favourite things to do. My favourite pastimes to kind of relax to is definitely going to a museum, looking at some art, travelling the world, going to the Louvre, going to Holland, and just seeing these incredible pieces of artwork. And I could spend hours and hours. Like when I went to the Louvre, and almost spent like 6 hours in there, just looking at certain artworks and stuff. But that's something that I'm really passionate about. That probably none of you guys would know. Is I'm mega passionate about art and like all that kind of creative stuff, painting and drawing, and I do it a lot myself. It's something that I'm really, really passionate about. An interesting what is a wrestling thing that people might know is actually wrestled in France one time. Cool. So I've got the West Coast Pop put favourite match as a wrestler in Dream Storyline. So I'll tell you when I was doing it. So my favourite match I've ever had was with my friend called Mick. He was at that time he was gone by Hack. It was me, him, and I had Hugo, who was my best friend. He was my manager at the time, and it was fantastic. Like it was a just no toot my own horn, but it was a fantastic match for me to keep part in. And we put on a hell of a show. We actually done it for 2-3 weekends in a row, so it was pretty fun. Nubinko, how will WWE fix their women's division mainly on Monday night? Man, that's $1 million question, isn't it? Like they've really. I don't know, like the women's division, it was so strong in NXT and WWE for so long, then it just feels like it just fell apart. I don't have a clue how they're going to fix it. Um, the tag team belts need to go. Like they really, or they need to make them just. They just need to go. They can't make them anything. Just let them go because nobody buys into them, and get us to buy into some of the female wrestlers that are there. Because really, there's nobody kind of there's there's nobody to buy into. Like they've brought Rhea Ripley up from NXT to the main roster on Raw, and she just doesn't work well. And we've got the same. You've got Asuka, Rhea, and Charlotte pretty much going into the same loop, but they were just already in prior to WrestleMania. And Nikki Cross, as much as I like her for being Scottish, she's no in that picture, and she's no been built up to be in that picture, which is hurting the division, especially like you say, as Raw man is just I think everything's happening, Rod, just now. Even the championship picture, there's nothing really there. We're going back into Bobby Lashley versus Drew, which is another make it a little bit harder to watch because I'm not putting anything new into it. But West Coast Pop finishing their kind of question was Dream storyline. For me, presently, well, all time would probably have to be Taker versus Sting or Bret Hart versus Kurt Angle. At the minute, Dream storyline, I would love to see Jinder Mahal against Drew McIntyre and let them work for like 6-7 months and just let it go. Like just let it be fun. Let it just if you have Jinder and Drew, take Drew to that title picture and let them push through each other through tons of matches and hell even if you Hell in a Cell wasn't so recently and you put it later on or you didn't have that stupid pay-per-view where you need to have a Hell in a Cell you'd be able to put it in that eventually. Whoever wins goes on to be the champion, but it's this kind of creates a feud that's going to be bigger than the belt, which would make sense, but I don't think that's what they want to do. Always talk wrestling in the comments. Man, thanks. It's you're always in the comments, which keeps my it helps me the comments and somebody to talk to instead of you just feeling like I'm talking to myself. But I man, thanks for supporting the show. Final question on. I'm actually coming up to your questions just after this one. Speak Chinwag podcast. If you were a wrestler, what would your entrance theme be? So I can tell you my theme when I was wrestling was Porcelain and the Machine King of the World, which is like an industrial rock kind of theme, which was pretty good. But if I was to go back and do it, I'd probably do something like Slayer, Rain and Blood or something. I think that'd be a pretty cool. Like I like that kind of rock kind of style, hard feeling of music, and I feel that would probably be the best way. Cool man. So getting on to questions that Always Talk Wrestling sent over. By the way, guys, I'm watching Bret Hart versus Owen Hart, Blue Steel Cage, SummerSlam '94. If you want to go put it on the network, it's one of the best matches ever, one of the best steel cage matches ever. So cool, bunch of questions from Always Talk. Who's the best mid carder currently? Man, the best mid carder for me currently has to be Darby Allin. Um, I know people say he's not a mid carder, but he kind of is. I would say him or Adam Page. Those two kind of guys are just. Adam Page especially could be in that main event picture, and for some reason he's just floating down there. More than likely he's going to be getting up there by the end of this year. But Darby Allin definitely he's not in that main event picture. He's probably going to be heading up there, but he's still there in that middle kind of ground. And then it's going to annoy me when Darby Allin goes up to face Kenny Omega and he doesn't beat him because nobody's going to believe it. So annoying. What about in WWE? Apollo Crews, man. Apollo Crews was probably one of the best. I was going to say Cesaro, but he's just done the WWE Championship match there. Apollo Crews at the minute, I'd probably say is one of the best kind of mid carder guys. His character, I still can't buy into, but he's that mid carder bit that he's at fits him well, and he's working really good at it. So I'd probably then you've got Ricochet when Sheamus is there, but I think Sheamus should be up a little bit. So I mean, Apollo Crews is fantastic. I don't like his character at the minute. I think they should just drop the Nigerian thing, like have him being proud of his heritage and stuff, but drop like the stuff that they're trying to do with like the commander and stuff like that, and just have him be a really cool guy. But I suppose this is the only thing that's they've had him be a really cool guy for so long. So uh, who dethrones Reigns? Oh, man, on with the questions in my fantasy booking thing the videos I put up. Was Cesaro dethrones Reigns. Reigns goes into a little feud with The Rock to eventually come back and get it. Man, that's what I was meaning. The Nigerian thing for me it doesn't work, but I get why it's there because it gives his character something. But I like the commander guy. I don't get just let the commander guy go. But if they're going to do the Nigerian stuff, don't do silly stuff like the Nigerian drum match. You know what I mean? Like it didn't make any sense. There's a ton of stuff that they could kind of do. But it's just as bad as when they done the Punjabi prison match for the Great Khali, which was awkward. If you've never seen it, go watch it because it's awkward. Who dethroned Reigns? Like I said, I had Cesaro dethroned him. I don't know who could take the belt off him at the minute. He's the most over person in SmackDown and probably the most over person in WWE. And why would you take the belt off him? He's the only person that's really kind of doing anything that makes sense. But I don't know who's got to dethrone Reigns. I really don't. I'd probably hopefully it was going to be somebody like Cesaro or something like that. They give the belt for him for maybe like a month and then take it back off him, so then he can say that he's got that title reign. But I don't think I would take it off Reigns. I think he just needs to keep it for a little bit. Bobby Lashley, well, man, who knows who's going to do that? You literally just, I don't know. When it comes to these ones, I'm like, I don't have a clue who's going to take the belt off of Lashley as well, because I don't want Drew to get the belt again yet until he has a couple of feuds under his belt, then come back out and challenge for it. But he's the only person on Raw that's kind of probably going to take it. Which, if it was me, I would just unify them, have a cool battle between Roman Reigns and Lashley, book that to Survivor Series and have SmackDown versus Raw. It gets this two belt thing away and go back to a cool looking belt. So you got GG and wrestling. Guys, if you haven't checked out GG's been on the show twice, like I said at the start. I've answered your question, man. But go check his channel out. Go support him. He's an AEW mark and definitely makes some sense. He's turned me around to liking AEW a little bit more, especially with his recent tweets. DWE, how do you think WWE can draw 65,000 fans in for SummerSlam? Man, SummerSlam's like a legacy. Do you know what I mean? Like you've got WrestleMania that's always going to get a lot of fans. Royal Rumble gets a lot of fans. SummerSlam, Survivor Series, they've been there for longer than most people have been alive. I mean, Royal Rumble started before I was born. So I don't think I was going to say I don't think it's going to be too hard to get 65,000 in, especially where it's going to be. I think they'll get it easy. I don't think it's going to be a hard. I don't think it's going to be hard for them to get that 65k in. People just want to get back out to watch wrestling, and they could probably have the worst show that's consistently terrible all the way up there, and people will still go because it's, oh look, SummerSlam's coming back again. Like when WrestleMania comes, you just get anybody who liked wrestling at any point to maybe go to it. And it's the same kind of feeling with SummerSlam. I'm not sure why they're trying to make it like this big thing. I think it's just because everything's back. But I I think they'll be able to draw it because most people probably won't be watching the weekly product. They'll just pick up the pay-per-view here and there, and then they'll watch classic stuff, and that's what will get them kind of hooked in. What other questions did Always Talk put up? How long would you have Apollo keep the title for? Man, I'd have him just for a year, lost it at WrestleMania next year. Let him just run with it and keep doing what he's doing. Drop the Commander guy and let him doing what he's doing. The 4-way match that they had on SmackDown, I would have built that a little bit more and put it at Hell in the Cell, or even built it even a little bit at Hell in the Cell and then keep going with it. But I would definitely keep Apollo Crews with it. I think the 4-way match would have been cool at Hell in the Cell, even inside a Hell in the Cell, and let them do something cool. Apollo still comes out as champion. It gets him over a little bit more as well. And which is your favourite match between 2018 and 2021? Man, I would probably say Edge and Orton as well. If it was, there's obviously all different. There's loads. Like it's really hard to pick like one or two. I'd probably say Edge and Orton. I loved that match. I thought it was cool. Two guys doing it, and Taker and AJ done a cool little match. I'll say Edge and Orton as well. Yeah, man. Cesaro, I think, should take it from Roman, but doing something like the Usos get involved. I think they'll be the ones who cost them the belt, and then we'll get Roman going on to like food with. So in my fantasy booking kind of thing, the way I done it was the Rock came out and cost them it. They'll probably just do the same thing, but instead of the Rock coming out, it'll be the Usos, and I think that's probably going to be the best kind of way that we're going to get that belt off of Roman and let him build a little bit more of a character. But really, for me personally, he's one of my favourite guys to watch at the minute. He's just everything he's doing is touching. Everything he's doing is just working well. Yeah, just really everything's kind of just working great, and I think so. You can really ask from a wrestler as he goes out there, he takes something and he runs with it, and that's what he's doing. Especially with Heyman in his corner as well. Then you've got the Usos, and obviously you can see Reigns and Usos are going to have like a split up. I think that would probably be best to let the Usos go, let them go back to the tag division a little bit better instead of being caught up with Roman Reigns, which needs more people because they really don't have anybody in there. And I'm not a big fan of the Mysterio and Dominic. I'm not a big fan of those two being a tag team. I would love to see them separate, send Dominic to NXT, build his name down there. I think that would be better. Always thought, man, I don't know why people do it either. I really struggle to know why people hate Cesaro. He's a great wrestler. He wasn't good on the mic when he first started, but he's learned how to get better there. And even if they just gave him it for a month, it's something fresh. Do you know what I mean? Like, even have him go up to Raw, if they're doing a draft, like have him go up to Raw and beat Lashley. And then I don't know, I just want something fresh. Do you know what I mean? Like, give the belt to somebody. And I give the belt to somebody and let them run with it. So like Cesaro, put him on Raw and just let him run with it. Yeah, man, Dominic for me just doesn't feel like. I feel he'd be better in NXT, but or 205 Live NXT. Do a story him against somebody loser leaves town has to go to 205, and that's what Dominic has to do. He starts up the bottom. Now, like you play the career modes in UFC and stuff, when you start at the bottom, so you just kind of work your way up. I think that would be the best. The best way of building Dominic, especially you could build it 2-3 years, having come back as this huge champion. Do you watch WWE exclusively? Like WWE backstage, story time. My kids normally watch like the kind of camp thingy, and then my partner, she watches like the diva show stuff, whatever they're called. I don't. I watch anything wrestling related from the NWA, ECW, the DVDs that I've got, 1PW, TNA. I watch everything. I'm not just exclusively kind of WWE. I just watch kind of anything that's gone because I love wrestling. Man, Dominic for cruiserweight title would be a shout. Well, I mean, like, see if you put him in 205 and then you have him just have a couple of matches, build his way to get a 205 title or whatever, then NXT, build your way back up, go to SmackDown, Raw, then you get your shot at the title, or you win the Rumble, whatever. It's a cool kind of story of like building somebody back up, because I really don't know what they're doing at the minute with him. It's kind of just putting him in a tag team for the sake of it. Yeah, man, that's what I was meaning. Like, comes down from the bottom, builds himself back up, and then when he gets to the main roster, he's been that underdog who shouldn't have made it. He's been winning by roll-ups and got the NXT title, and then he gets called up, so he lets it go, and he's been winning like lucky, and then he gets there, ends up getting out of the Rumble by a win, goes on to Mania. Kind of like the same kind of story that Rey Mysterio had, like when he won the Royal Rumble, and then went on to win in a triple threat at WrestleMania. I thought that was cool, and I think you could just do his son. Plus, if you do it over 2-3 years, then you've got like, oh, cool, so this is the legacy of what your dad did from that amount of time. Do you know what I mean? But I think, I don't know, I feel WWE just kind of need to change up things. Like recently, I'm sure you've seen my rants. I think everybody's seen them on Raw recently. It's just been terrible. And SmackDown's kind of a one-man show with Roman Reigns, which is a little bit annoying, but hopefully things start to pick up. Anyway, guys, we're heading up to the last 10 minutes of this Owen Hart versus Bret Hart match. I'm going to love yous and leave yous there because I actually need to go to work. That's why I came onto this early. It's my birthday tomorrow. I turn 30. Yes, I'm an old man. Yeah, man. SmackDown has Apollo as well. I think Apollo would be better over on Raw, and bringing some other guys over to SmackDown, like Drew, Jinder, and that kind of stuff. I feel it would be a little bit better. Like, take Apollo, put him on Raw. I think he can do a lot over there. Better than what he can in SmackDown, because I feel he gets overshined by Roman Reigns. But yeah, like I says, guys, thanks for coming along. 50th episode of the NWC Show. It's been an insane journey. I've spoke to insane people like Sabu, great Scottish wrestlers, an AEW dark wrestler, some great American wrestlers as well. And yeah, I've got Friday, the 51st show comes out. And then I think I've got 52nd the week after. But there's a bunch of cool wrestlers I've got set up coming up to talk. And I can't wait for you to see it. So tomorrow you'll get a video. It's my fantasy booking video. I'll actually be away because I'm going to be having food with my kids and drinking a little bit too much beer. And I'll see you back here Friday. Back to the normal kind of stuff that we do. And I'll see you then, guys. Thanks for all your support. And honestly, guys, from the bottom of my heart, it's amazing watching this channel grow. It's amazing being able to speak to 50 people and being able to speak to one of my all-time favourite wrestlers, Sabu. And I can't wait to see what the future brings. See you later, guys, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your night.